What's up there, emissaries? Gores here, giving you guys another Edison deck profile for my Flamvell Synchro Cat deck. This deck is a lot of fun to play and has insane explosive capabilities. So the whole goal of the deck is to summon Fire Dog, swing over our opponent's monster, get our level 4 tuner from deck, synchro into a level 8, such as like Stardust or Thought Ruler, and then use Rekindling to make another level 8 synchro, or potentially extend even further. Then we also have our Rescue Cat, which tributes itself, and then summons any 2 level 3 or lower beasts from deck, allowing us to synchro summon. We also play the Dark Spellcaster package of Gravekeeper, Spy, and Descendant, as well as Summoner Monk to be able to summon Cat or Magician straight from deck. So that's basically the deck, is to just put bodies on board and then synchro summon. The deck is super consistent, a lot of fun to play. We do get a lot of damage special summons, so we can get away with playing cards like Royal Oppression in the main. In hindsight, I really enjoy Pot of Avarice, so I might want to bump this up. But other than that, I got some great replays to show you guys, so let's get into it. So this first replay I have to show you guys is against X-Sabers. So our opponent wins the dice roll. They start off with set Sangan, set 3 pass. They go ahead and synchro summon into High on Lay. And we flip up the Royal Oppression for the High on Lay. They chain Trap Stun, which, again, I play a lot of X-Saber. You guys should know that as I play on the channel. Love this card in X-Saber. It is just absolutely ridiculous with High on Lay, especially in this format. We tribute our Spy to be able to pop. We swing into D-Prison. Now, our opponent here, they're going to summon Cat and get 2 Airbellums. They have the Foul Troll. It's a lot here for us, so they're going to go ahead. We're going to flip Bottomless. They have Solemn Judgment, too. They are just them today. They're so strong. So they go ahead, summon out X-Saber Foul Troll, summon back Full Helm Knight. We draw into Summoner Monk, and that's just the L for us, because we're going to discard 2 off that Airbellum. Potentially, they might make us discard the 3rd card, so we go to the next game. So our opponent opens with Ragagira. We flip Spy, summoning Descendant from deck, swinging for 12, or actually summoning Spy and then normal summoning Descendant, and then swinging for 1500. Our opponent activates Mind Control. We Book of Moon their tuner monster when they summon it, and then we get to go to next play. So they Book of Moon our Descendant when we MST the set card, and then we just flip it back up. So then we normal summon our Flamvell Magician, then we synchro 8 into our Thought Ruler Archfiend. We swing over the X-Saber Airbellum here, and then we get to attack directly and gain 1600 life points from our Thought Ruler. So our opponent goes ahead and sets a Mega Ham. We activate Rekindling, summoning back our 1. We don't really want to lose to Raikou here, so we make Dark End, and that secures us the match there. Well, that duel. And then we go to Game 3 to see if we can win the match. Our opponent, Trap Dust, shoots us off rip. We lose an Airbellum. We have Fire Dog, Hamster still, so I think we're in a good spot. We Heavy Storm over a D-Prison, allowing us to dodge this Bottomless and this Torrential potentially, and then we end up blind MSTing the Torrential. We swing into the Full Helm Knight, which gets to negate the attack. They swing into our set monster, which is Mega Hamster. We go ahead and summon Raikou from deck. Our opponent synchros into Black Rose, blowing up the board. Game 3 is not looking too hot for us, so we set our Mega Hamster and pass. They normal summon Airbellum, swinging into the Mega Ham, and we set the Raikou. Then we go to our battle phase. We swing over the Airbellum, summoning Magician from deck, hit them for 11, hit them for 14, synchro 8 into Stardust Dragon, setting our Solemn Judgment. Our opponent decides to just crash into the Fire Dog. We flip Raikou, popping the set card, and our opponent is bluffing with the Heavy Storm, and that is it for the first replay. This next replay we have is against Machina Hero. This list was super teched out. It was really cool. They used Prisma to send Submarine Roid from deck to grave, and then be able to put that extra water monster in the graveyard, and then Submarine Roid, if they draw it, is just a machine for Machina Fortress. So they swing with Gear Frame into our Raikou. We mill 3, one of them being Fire Dog, which was off to a great start. Our opponent Heavy Storms, normal summons Prisma, sending Submarine Roid, so that way they can get the water. We show them a Gravekeeper Spy. We synchro into Dark End. This is us just trying to play around Gores. They take 15. So our opponent activates Brain Control and then tributes our Dark End for Caius. Hindsight here, our opponent probably should have used Dark End to send the Descendant and then summoned Caius to try and banish this in case it was D-Prison. I mean, it ended up not mattering since we had, Bottomless, but important to note that. So our opponent activates Future Fusion, revealing Ab Zero, sending the 2 hero monsters from deck to grave. In 2 turns, they're getting an Absolute Zero, which is not good for us. We go ahead, we set Sangan, they swing with Machina Fortress, we D-Prison it, Then we MST the Future Fusion to prevent them from getting that Ab Zero next turn. We hit them with Sangan. Our opponent normal summons Gear Frame and then discards Machina Force to summon back Fortress. I think our opponent was trying to play around Deep Prison here, and then we just flip Mirror Force anyway. We go ahead and hit them with all 3 of our little recruiters and pass. Our opponent scoops it up. So we open Airbellum, Cyber Dragon, Mirror Force, Raikou, and Rekindling. Super solid there. Our opponent does have Trap Dust Shoot and Dust Tornado, which is not the best for us. So we go ahead, we set the Book of Moon, we set Raikou to try and force that Dust Tornado out. They do end up hitting it. We flip Raikou, popping the Gear Frame, milling 3. Our opponent summons Fortress in main phase 2. We set Mirror Force, set Spy, pass. We go ahead and just let them get the Spy. Our opponent summons Prisma and sends Submarine Roid again. We Book of Moon the Fortress here, normal summon Airbellum, make our Arcanite Magician, popping the Fortress that we set so that we could play around its effect. Our opponent goes ahead and Brain Controls, and then Tribute summons Vanity's Fiend against us. And this is kind of just an I lose button sometimes when our opponent summons it. Like, they just hit that I win button, and we're just having a bad day. So we summon the Fire Dog, swing over the Prisma. Our opponent's just beating us up here, and I don't think our top deck saves us. It's Rescue Cat. It's a wrap. So we go to the next game. We open fairly well. We open Double Spy, which isn't the best, but the rest of the hand is still pretty good. So our opponent goes ahead and starts off with normal summon Orange Gadget to grab Machina Fortress. We flip the Gravekeeper Spy and summon Descendant from deck. We tribute our Spy to pop the Gear Frame, swing our opponent Dust Tornadoes so that they can drop Gores. We move to our main phase 2. We set Spy, set 1 pass. Our opponent normal summons Caius and swings. We go ahead and just take that damage there. We set the Raikou. They swing with Caius again. We get our Raikou off, milling 3. We normal summon Flamvell Magician, flip Call the Haunted, Synchro into Stardust, and swing over Caius. Our opponent special summons Trigodia here. We set Solemn. We set Bottomless Pass. They swing with Trigodia. We activate Deep Prison. We swing into the set card. It's Elemental Hero Ocean. They activate Miracle Fusion to go into Gaia. We misclick. We flip up the Bottomless Trap Hole. And then our opponent swings. We Book of Moon the Machina Fortress. We swing over Fortress. They use the effect. We tribute to negate. We set Spy. We pass. Our opponent Nobleman of Crossouts us. Discards Cyber Eltanin. We hit the Fortress with Solemn Judgment. We hit them with Airbellum and Stardust, and our opponent just scoops it up. So let's get to the next replay. This next replay is against a teched out version of Disaster Dragon. Is it a rule for me to always main Gores? Absolutely. So, our opponent normal summons Card Trooper, mills 3, sets 3, and passes. We're not going to just blind Heavy Storm into a potential Starlight Road here, which they did have. They swing in with Kawakimiro Drago, preventing us from being able to summon. We blind MST the Starlight Road, thankfully, allowing us to just blow up the board. We make Stardust Dragon swing over Card Trooper, preventing them from special summoning a Darkness Metal if they have it. They normal summon Caius, which is super out of pocket for Disaster Dragon. They Gold Sark to Future Fusion. We set Raikou and pass. This lets us pop the Caius. We take the 1800 and drop Gores. Shameless plug. We draw Rekindling, bring back our level 4s, swing over Wyvern, summon a Magician from deck. Then we swing for 1400. Our opponent summons Gores. We move to main phase 2. After swinging over their Gores token with ours. We move to main 2, synchroing into Stardust and Dark End, using Dark End to send the Gores. Then we Pot of Avarice for 5, putting everything but our Flamvell targets back in case we draw Rekindling. We draw D-Prison and Mirror Force. Our opponent does have Heavy Storm. We kind of got greedy here. I guess we weren't really expecting Debris Dragon for whatever reason. Our opponent does end up just blowing up our board, and then they reveal 5. They didn't, unfortunately for them, they just didn't have it because we top decked Rekindling, so we were pretty strong there. We kind of sacked them there. So we do open fairly strong here. We have Raikou, Monk, Mega Hamster, D-Prisons. So we go ahead, discard Rekindling, summoning out our 2 monsters, making Arcanite to pop a potential Raikou, which it was. We hit them for 16. They drop Gores. We make them discard a random card. And then we main phase 2, pop the Gores with Arcanite. We flip Mirror Force to force a discard out of our opponent since we know that we're going to be able to D-Prison it next turn. Our opponent drops Future Fusion, revealing 5-headed, sending 5, and then swings with the Prime Material. We flip D-Prison to banish the Prime Material. They summon back both Darkness Metals. Our opponent was super nice here because we weren't paying attention and clicked the wrong Darkness Metal. But unfortunately, they're very nice and let us re-switch our target. So fortunate for us, unfortunate for the opponent. Then we synchro into Black Rose. They solemn. We solemn right back. Then we Pot of Avarice, putting back 2 synchro monsters and 3 of our Rescue Cat and our 2 Airbellums. We summon Airbellum, hit them for 16 to the face, pass to them. They draw set Raikou. We synchro into Brio, and that wins us the match. This next replay was a super fun duel for me. I had a great time against this opponent. They open up pretty standard fairy hand. This is like Fairy Box with like DD Warrior Lady and Freed the Brave Wanderer. They have no fairy to trigger off the Herald of the Orange Light here in their opening, which isn't the best for them. So we just start off with set Spy, pass. They special Cyber Dragon, swing into our set monster. We go ahead and summon out another Spy from deck. They swing over it. They don't banish with the DD Warrior Lady, which is kind of understandable here. We go ahead, we summon Cat, summon our 2 Airbellums. They get bottomless. We set D Prison and pass. Our opponent uses D-Elk to banish and then swings. Then they swing with Cyber Dragon. We go ahead and D Prison that. We normal summon Fire Dog, swinging over our D-Elk. Special summoning Flamvell Magician from deck. We're still in battle phase here, but we tried to go into Dark End and, misclicked. Our opponent, Herald of the Orange Lights, banishes 2 to pop the Fire Dogs, hits us for 15, then hits us for 17. We draw, we normal summon the Fire Dog, swinging over Freed, allowing us to summon Flamevell Magician from deck. We synchro into Stardust Dragon. Our opponent crashes into it. They take 1,000. We top deck Royal Oppression, but we're not really super keen on setting that card here because we need to be able to establish a board presence before we do. Plus, we have Heavy Storm, so we drop the Heavy. We were Kindling for 4, pop the Cyber Dragon, and that's how we take game 1. So, our opponent is on Fairies, which is a very back and forth matchup for us because of all the floaters that they have. Our opponent summons D-Elk, and then they hit us with a Trap Dust Shoot. We summon out our X-Saber Airbellum, but they have bottomless for it, so we set 4 with our Starlight Road and Royal Oppression set, so we Mirror Force them. They get to add back a D-Elk off D-Elk. We top deck Rekindling, but it doesn't really do much for us here. They swing again with Dimensional Alchemist. We take 1,800. We do top deck Spy, which is fairly good for us. They summon Thunder King. We don't want that, so we bottomless the hell out of it. We flip our GK Spy, and we summon Descendant from deck. Then we synchro into Dark End, sending the D-Elk so that they can't recur their graveyard, or their banish pile. Then we hit them in the face with Descendant. Our opponent summons Freed, banishing 2 to send the Dark End. We take 200 from the attack. They set a trap. We summon Cat. And then we synchro into Catastor to not lose to Honest. Super smart on our part. Our opponent draws. They flip Return from the Different Dimension. We flip Royal Oppression right back. We did get to establish them. We dropped the Rekindling for our opponent to scoop them up. It's important to note that I played the Rekindling so that they would pay 800 for the Royal Oppression. I just dropped it, and then our opponent scooped, so I don't know why our opponent scooped there, but it's understandable. For this last replay, we are playing against Volcanic Quickdraw with a little bit of a Dark World package splashed in, which is super spicy. So let's just get into this real quick. Our opponent was floating all over the place. It was crazy. So that's our opponent's opening hand. They're on Divine Wrath, too. They were on Divine Wrath and Wing Wind Blast, so the deck was super crazy. They hit us with Dust Tornado in the main as well. On the end step, we go ahead and flip. We synchro into Black Rose Dragon so that we can get off a Pot of Avarice and try to prevent our opponent from having way too much. We get to put pretty much everything back. We draw 2. It's not the best draws. We do have Bottomless Trap Hole. Our opponent hits us with Heavy, though, and then discards Dandelion, summoning into Drill Warrior, hitting us for 24. They actually used the effect to hit for 12 so they could play around Gores just a little bit better. I probably should have still dropped Gores there in hindsight, but it is what it is. So they go ahead and discard the Dandelion, and that's them changing tokens there. They summon back Drill Warrior. Drill Warrior discards Brow, which, since it doesn't discard for cost, they do get to draw a card, which that's the part that was just so mind-blowing to me, was them playing Brow. So they draw 2. It is Wing Wind Blast. They discard the Blaze Excel. It doesn't send for cost. I have to remind my opponent that, but that's totally fine. So we flip our Nimble Mega Ham, allowing us to set Raikou from deck. They Wing Wind Blast our set card, which is super bad for us because it's Mirror Force. Then Then our opponent goes ahead and just keeps looping the Drill Warrior here. They swing with Turbo Warrior, which completely forgot that it has the effect that it can't be targeted. So then we mill with the Rykos, pass to our opponent. They add back the Quick Draw. They go ahead and run away with Drill Warrior so that even if I do Mirror Force, which I kind of have to here, they don't lose too much out of it. So they go ahead, pay 5, search for a shell, set a Sangan, and pass. We set Book, Rekindling, pass. Our opponent goes ahead and runs away with Drill Warrior again. We just Book of Moon our Ryko to try and mill 3 more since we do have our Rekindling. Then we Rekindling back the Fire Dog, swing over Sangan. They take 900. Fire Dog summons Magician from deck. I'm really not trying to get Ryko'd here, so we go ahead and Synchro 8 into Stardust Dragon, and then we Synchro 5 into Magical Android, gaining 600 on our end step. Then we, our opponent attacks us directly. They discard Dandelion, summoning 2 tokens. We set Call the Haunted. We swing over both tokens. And then we pass to our opponent. They get back the Drill Warrior, adding back Dandelion. Our opponent cuts in half again, hits us in the face one more time with 1200. This is one of the most grindy games of Yu-Gi-Oh! I swear I've ever played. So I Call the Haunted, back the Fire Dog. I don't care about Ryko anymore. We get Magician. We swing, hit them for 24. So we definitely didn't swing with Stardust Dragon so that way the token couldn't out our Stardust Dragon by itself. We Synchro into Darkness, or into Red Dragon Archfiend. Our opponent gets to add back Dandelion, which we are just in such a bad spot here because our opponent has so much advantage. They clash with our token, and then they swing over the Stardust with Gores. Then they just go ahead and just keep it going. They Synchro into Black Rose here, blowing up the board. Trying to blow up the board, but we do play second Stardust Dragon in the extra deck because we get to play so many level 8s, so we Starlight Road it. And then we let our opponent keep their board so that they can't get back to their Drill Warrior. And then they Synchro into Nitro Warrior, swinging over Stardust Dragon. We lose 300 here. It is not looking good for us, y'all. It is not looking good. So we draw, we Book of Moon the Drill Warrior. Unfortunately, we swing into a D Prison. Then we swing over the set monster with RDA. We get to pop the token with RDA's effect, but they have Call the Haunted. They get to add back Blaze Excel, boosting the Nitro Warrior by 1,000, and we go to game 2. Shameless plug in the chat. So, we don't open the best here, but it's good enough. So we swing into a set Debris Dragon. Our opponent didn't open the best either. They heavy storm us back, then they Dark World Lightning us. We set GK Spy, we flip him. They hit us with Solemn Judgment. They're not trying to let us get to Arcanite Magician, so we take 400. They set another monster. They flip Morphing Jar here, discarding Brow and Gores, drawing 5 and then an additional card off of Brow. We have Summoner Monk, might let us go crazy here, so they do Tribute Summon Caius, banishing our Airbellum. We top deck Book of Moon. We go ahead, pay costs, summon out Rescue Cat from deck. And then we summon both Airbellums, our opponent Bottomlesses. We chain a Book of Moon to protect one of our Airbellums. They swing with the Caius, and then they pass. We Call the Haunted, back our Summoner Monk, Synchroing 7 into Arcanite Magician, swinging over one of the Debris Dragons, popping Caius, and then popping the set card, which turns out to be Sangan, of course. And then our opponent adds Dandelion off of it. So we Pot of Avarice, we put back our Summoner Monk package and our Cat package. We draw Heavy Storm and Flamvell Magician, which is pretty solid for us here since we have Mega Hamster. They hit us right back with another Pot of Avarice. Drawing Card Destruction and Dark World Lightning. They drop Lightning, they drop Card Destruction, discarding quite a bit of value for them. We do draw into Cat and Rekindling, though, which this is where we get to go a little crazy. So they Caius, banish the set Starlight Road, we take 2,000, and then they pass. It's not looking too hot, honestly, because of the set card and Caius. So we set Ryko, we set Book, and pass. We book the Plague Spreader that they summon. They swing with Caius. We flip the Ryko, milling 3. We normal summon our Fire Dog, swinging into a D Prison. They summon out Volcanic Rocket, Synchroing 8 into Colossal Fighter to try and get the kill here. We had Mirror Force. Little greedy on our opponent's part there. We Synchro 5 into Magical Android. They have another D Prison for us. It is not looking too great for us. So we swing with Sangan. They Dust Tornado so that they can Gores. We rekindling back our Flamvell Magician, making Black Rose, blowing up the board, and grabbing a GK Spy. We set Spy, we set D Prison on our next turn and pass. Our opponent could only really Blaze Excel. We go ahead and use Summoner Monk to summon Magician from deck, and then Synchro into Stardust for the game. Again, this is such a grindy match that we have here. So they T-set pass, we Mind Control hoping to hit a Raikou. It's just a Volcanic Shell. So we get Dark World Lightninged again. We special Cyber Dragon into Bottomless. Our opponent hits us with it. And then we go ahead and swing on them with the Fire Dog combo. We make Stardust Dragon, and then we pass. Our opponent sets 3 and passes. We heavy. They flip Solemn Judgment. We rekindling back into Thought Ruler. And this just kind of locks our opponent out of the game because there's really nothing they can do with this D Prison. And that is all she wrote for it. It was an awesome game, y'all. It was super grindy. So here's the deck once again for you guys. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe for more Edison content. I decided to just start doing longer videos like this for Edison just because I do play a lot of Edison rated. We are climbing the leaderboard fairly fast. We're almost at top 200. You guys have been amazing. We hit 1,500 subscribers. Like, how awesome are you guys? You guys are so awesome. I love you guys so much. Really enjoy making these videos for you guys, and I really enjoy playing Edison format. So expect to see a lot more of it. I will leave the export file for this deck down in the description box below, and if there are any other decks you guys would like to see, make sure you guys put that in the comments. This is Gores signing off.